This past weekend, me and my partner decided to go to our usual camping spot. It is very low key. People don't usually show up to this mountain besides one or two people at a time, and even at that time, they're miles away from your campground. It's not a very well known spot. This past weekend, just like every year, we brought my parents and my little dog. We set up camp, ate some food, and drank some beer around the campsite. When we arrived prior to this, we scoped out the area to see how busy it was. There was absolutely nobody in the site. The entire mountain camp was empty. We're used to having one hunter or fisher in the area at least. We've never not seen at least one person the entire trip. So, we sat around the fire, completely relaxed with my little dog nearby. When we decide to go to bed, my usually very complacent, placid dog refuses to settle inside the tent. It is pretty hot this time of the year, so we had the tent unzipped with just one mesh covering the opening to let some breeze in. But my dog was looking through the mesh and sniffing, zoning in and out, something completely different. We decide to get back and check out the camp for whatever he's looking at. We don't see anything, so we decide to sit by the fire. When my sleepy dog unsettles suddenly with his hackle straight up, growling a deep growl into one direction of the woods, we decided to grab the hunting knife and axe to listen. He is snarling and barking vigorously, which took us by surprise because he's been completely comfortable every other year. After a few hours of him acting on high alert, we decide to flip the truck lights on to illuminate the camp as we're surrounded by darkness. We were listening intensely, trying to figure out what he's seeing or hearing. After a few minutes, he lays down and alarms us again. A few minutes after, startling us to the point we make a run to the truck by how aggressively my dog is warning something. We wait by the car, our hearts pounding at this point inside the truck, trying to see what's out there. After 30 minutes, we assume whatever it is has passed on. After we reposition ourselves in front of the fire again, my dog hackles are up, and we hear the loudest tree branch snap a mere 10 feet away from us in the pitch black wilderness. Again, we hop in the truck with the dog and decide we better leave. As earlier that night, we were hearing wolves hunting for a few hours, and their howls echoing through the woods. Our main concern at this point was it being a cougar, as they're commonly seen in this area, and there have been a lot of attacks on unsuspecting victims. Our main thought was something was stalking us for a long time without moving on. At this point, we hop in the truck, pack as much stuff as we can, and leave the campsite. But just as we're leaving, from the corner of my eye, I see two little yellow lights flickering in the wilderness. I'm not sure what it was, but it seemed like eyes that were looking at us while we were leaving. To this day, I don't know what it is or what it was, but sometimes it still keeps me up at night. I was at a friend's house for a weekend with a bunch of my friends, and we all went for a walk. She lives right at the edge of the countryside, where there's fields and woods and whatnot, so we went down to this forest path. Me and this other guy started exploring a bit deeper into the trees, and we had gone quite far down a hill into the thicker trees. But then there was this clearing. There was a big log laying on the ground, and resting on it was a skinned deer. No bones or anything, just the skin and its head and antlers. The head was on the log, eyes missing, and the skin was just sorta draped out on the front. Beside it was a crucifix, made out of planks, and tied with a bale string. Me and this guy started to freak out. I called out to the other friends to come see, but he told me not to show them because they would find it too disturbing. He then shook it off and started climbing back up, and I just stared at it for ages. So long he waited for me, and he told me to walk away from it. There was also a string attached to the crucifix that ran further into the woods, but following it wouldn't be very normal, so I just went back. I still can't comprehend what it was. Some kind of a pagan ritual, some kind of prank. Not many people walk this forest path besides locals walking their dogs. And we had come far off the path too. My friend that lived there said that people didn't hunt in this woods, but I didn't want to push it with the question, since I had been told not to tell her. I understand I wouldn't want to know that there was something like that in the woods behind my house, but I find the lack of answers that has me thinking about it more and more. I still don't know what to think of it about this day. I would believe it was the beginning of a horror movie, where all my friends and I are killed off one by a forest witch. It was a perfect setup. Friends hanging out at a country house for a weekend. Two idiots going into the deep woods and find something disturbing. Death ensuing. I still feel it was some kind of bad omen, unless I really don't know anything about hunting, and this is a regular practice for people who hunt deer in the woods. Can anyone offer me some insight on this? Was this a joke? Or did it have a deeper meaning? What if it's a curse? What if seeing this curse me and posting this now, pressing send, will activate the curse? I guess we will have to wait and see.
Don't you worry!